Hey guys, what's going on? So I'm sitting here. If you've been following my videos lately, I had a popping noise on this truck when I was turning. You know, you go to make a turn and it just felt like, something in the front end was popping. I could have swore it. I mean, I'd have bet you 20 bucks it would have been the lower ball joints that were popping on this thing. And so if you've been following my videos, I changed out the lower control arms on this truck to try to see if I could eliminate that popping sound. And I was wrong. I'm here to tell you, I could have swore up and down it would have been them lower ball joints because one of them was broke. But after I changed them, the noise is still there. So this time we're going to change the upper control arms and the upper control arm ball joints and see if that fixes our problem. So basically, this truck's got over 360,000 miles on it, and I think it might be the factory front end stuff on here that I took off. So it needs to be, these parts need to be changed anyway, so we're going to go ahead and knock them out, and I'm going to go ahead and change these upper control arms, and then we'll drive it again and see if it's still making noise. So yeah, let's get to it, and we'll get these things changed out. Alrighty, so you guys know the drill. The first thing we're going to do is jack this thing up and get this wheel off. Alrighty, so we got the wheel and the tire off, and now I'm looking at this right here, and while we're in here, we're going to go ahead and spray this stuff. Put some of that, put some spritz on it and get everything kind of loosened up here, everywhere where we're going to be turning. And then what we're going to do, the first thing here is this ABS speed sensor wire right here. We got to get this off. I got me a little pair of nippers here. I'll just nip these little zip ties off right here. And we'll go ahead and get that up like that. Just kind of get it out of the way a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Just, yeah, like that. Like that, out of the way right there. Alright, now. What we need to do is first, we're going to put a jack underneath this arm here. We'll put us a jack up underneath here to support this, to keep it from kind of, falling or anything. Just for some extra safety right there, we'll just put us a jack right there. That way it'll be good. It'll have us. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take these bolts right here off, and they've got these little keyway things here that kind of mark, where things are here. I'm not sure if that's important or not, but I don't know. So what we'll do is just take these arms loose. Like that. And take this piece off right here. See, it's got these little marks on it right there. All them little indentions right there, that's supposed to line up on that pin right there. So when you got this on here, and you turn it up, it'll actually hit. That pin is hitting on that little index mark right there. So that kind of tells you where you're at, I think, is the reason for that. And it's the same way back here on the back side. You got one back here on the back side too. Right there on the back. And both of them need to be on the same mark, I would imagine, so that everything's in the proper position. This guy right here is kind of being a pain. So, ain't wanting to sit nice. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. So I think it's all the way up against it right there. So I think what it is, as long as I don't change my height here on my jack and keep everything where it's at, and I put these back on and I just put them down there to where they touch, I think I'll be in good shape. And I don't have to really worry about it. Yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger on where that pin is touching that. I'm going to take this off and look at it. And I'm on like the first mark right there on it. It's like the first little dash mark right there. Alright. Now we'll tap our bolt out the other hole here. This one's kind of tough because it has to slide through that. The bolt goes through that little indexer thing and then onto the and through that hole. So you got to have it just so. Alright, so this is the back side of this one. So look at that. It's got a square spot in it. It's round, but it's square right there. So that means it'll go like that. And then you index it on these little dudes right here, and it all goes through that hole right there, and then through there, and then you got. So that's a little fancy little thing right there. I'll have to keep track of that. Alright, so that one's off. Okay. Now, get y'all over here, we can see what I'm doing over here. So I'll put us a little spritz on this, because that little 10mm bolt right there, that's got to come out. That's what's holding the brake line right there. So we'll take this little 10mm out and get our brake line, because that's attached right there on this bracket. You got to get that out. We'll just let that brake line hang down just like that. Then, got to get that bolt off right there. You really don't have to worry about the bolts spinning in this, because that little keeper thing has got it locked down right there. It ain't gonna go nowhere. take that nut off. Now I need to check where this one is. Right there. Got my finger on it. So that's on the 1, 2, 3. That's on the 4th hole right there. Alright. Glad I'm taking a video, that way I can watch it back and remember where they were. Oh baby, yeah, she moved in, see that? Yeah, huh? Yeah, huh, check that out. That's a slotted deal there. Huh, I did not know that. That has a lot to do with the alignment right there. That sets the camber. That's your wheel camber right there. See all that up and down there? Or back and forth? That's going to allow you to adjust that camber. Get it right. This camber is adjustable on this truck. So we are more than likely going to need to have an alignment after this. Unfortunately. Alright. There again, so it's the same kind of deal on the other side right there. Alright, so that should pretty much have us loose here. Oh yeah, yeah, she's loose. Just walking around that line out there. Yeah, baby. Okay. So now I really don't want it to hang on that. So what I might wind up doing here is I'm going to get me some zip ties. I'm going to put us a zip tie around this spring right here. What y'all doing looking over there? Gotta get back here. There we go. And then I'm going to put the other end on this other end here. Maybe. There we go. Get you where you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to put that zip tie through there and that one through there. There we go. I just don't want there to be tension on this brake line right here. That's all I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm not doing a very good job though. Let me get another zip tie and put it here underneath this sway bar here and see if I can get it that way. Get some control here because it ain't got no control. There we go. That'll work. Okay. Alright, now we got her kind of halfway held in place. So now what we need to do is take this bottom of this control arm loose right here on our knuckle, on our spindle. Yep, right there. We're going to take that nut off right there next, hopefully. And hopefully it don't spin and it'll come off good, hopefully. I spritzed it already, so it ought to be lubricated and it ought to come off okay. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to come off okay. Alright, now we got that nut off right there. Now all we gotta do is go get us a pickle fork and get through there and bust that off. See how we're gonna do this here. You gotta watch that brake line right there. I don't want to put the pickle fork through the brake line. That would be bad. And that did pretty much nothing. Oh, that sucker was wore out though. I'm here to tell you, I can see it right here. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot holding that on. Yep, not a whole lot holding that on. Well, there we go. Yeah, man. Look at that right there. There was not a whole lot there holding that in. That's junk. Oh, okay, I see what happened. My zip tie broke. That's what happened. Alright. Well, darn. want this girl to sit up here like this. So we'll get us another zip tie and try it again. I think zip ties are probably the best invention that's come out like in the last, I don't even know how long zip ties have been around. They've probably been around a long time. But whoever invented zip ties, that was a good call right there. Because I use them a lot. And they work good. There we go. There we go. Now we got a little support right there. So yeah, that's better. Okay, I like that better. Okay, now our brake lines ain't getting all messed up. I did bend that right there. I'm going to fix that little tab right there. But I'll fix it here in a little while, a pair of pliers or something. Alright, so I'm going to take us a rag here and wipe all this down here a little bit. Because it looks pretty gnarly. Just clean off all that old grease. There we go. That's better. Okay. Alright, now we're ready for our new control arm. This one right here is, it's already preloaded, got a new ball joint, new bushings already in it, and it's ready to go. So what we'll do here is, I guess the easiest thing to do would be just to cut these zip ties off and hold the spindle up. Oh man. And just get all this out of the way, because it's kind of a bird nest here. Just kind of hold it right there. Get all these zip ties out of the way. I don't want it to get hung up on all this. Okay. Then just take your control arm, put it back in your perch. Try to get it where it's going back in the right spot. kind of weird because that sensor has to go on top of it. Like that. There we go. Okay. And it looks like we're a little off center here on our where the control arm bolts into the frame. It's a little bit off. Just a little bit. I mean, it ain't a whole lot, but it is a little bit. So now the question becomes, how do I want to fight it? Do I want to put this one in and fight it up there? Or put it in up there and fight it back here? That's going to be kind of a question. Because I'm not sure how I want to fight it right now. But that's where it needs to be. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get us some more zip ties. Because I can't do this and hold this ball joint at the same time. So we'll go back here and use some more zip ties. Let's see here if we can make this a little more sturdy. There, okay, now that's better. Alright, now, what we got going on here? That one kind of wants to go in right there, but that one does not. I mean, it's pretty close. Let's see if I can get that sensor out of there. All sensors kind of being a problem with it being there. So I'm going to see if I can pull it up out of there. There we go. So I just kind of need it out of the way. There we go. Okay. All right, now. Do with my hammer. Kind of give her a little love tap here. I got it really kind of close here. So what we'll do is just try to ease her in here a little. A little bit at a time. There we go. She's going in there now. Okay. That's getting there. That's looking good. Okay. Now what we got to do is get our little lineup deals here and kind of get them going the right way. Kind of want to make sure I can get a bolt in it first before I go putting that on. There we go. Okay, so that one will go through now. So now let me put this on here. Slide her through right like that. And if I ain't mistaken, that was on number 4, I think, on this side. So the more you go in, the more it goes down. Okay, so that one went right there, and this one went on number 2. No, that ain't right. There we go. So that one went on number 2. So let's see where number 2 is. Number 2 is 1, 2. Right there. That's number 2. So that's where I want it to be. It's right there. That's kind of hard to see, so yeah, that's about number 2 right there. So go in just a little bit more. Yeah, that's about number 2 right there. Okay. Go ahead and get our nut started here. Kind of interesting how this works. About right there. And we'll do the same thing over here on this side. Just tap it with a hammer until you can get it started. Once you get your bolt set, you can go back and take it back out. Put it through this thing right here. And drop everything just like that. Kind of a tough little deal right there. Alrighty, so about 35.5 hours later, I finally got that to do what I needed it to do. So we put that one back on. And we get our nut started here. Get that going the right way. Alright. Now we got that kind of situated. We're going to drop back here and put our ball joint through its little hole. So to do that, now we got to take this zip tie off because we're done with that now. It's done doing its job. It held it. That was what we needed. Get it out of the way. Now we can pick this arm up and slide that ball joint through there. Ooh. Like that, right there. Then take your nut. Start your nut on the bottom down here. Like that. There we go. Now everything's kind of together, more or less how it's supposed to be. And we'll go ahead and plug up this little sensor right here. It just pushes through there like that, and that holds it. And then this one plugs in the top up here. You just push it in, and that one, push that in right there. And then we'll zip tie it just like we did before. When we took our zip ties off, we'll put 2 new zip ties on it. Like that. Like that. And we might do one more out here. One more right there. There we go. Now, just come back and cut our tails off. Alright. That's done. Then we can come back over here on this side and put our brake line back on. That went through the bottom like that. That's how that one was. Right there. Right like that. That's pretty snug right there, actually. But that is how it goes. Alright, now we need to tighten up our ball joint here. Well, I think I need a castle nut on there, and I don't believe that my arms came with a castle nut. because that way you could put a cotter pin through there. But I don't think I have one. So that right there ain't gonna be good. You don't want that coming loose. So I think I'm gonna have to back up here and go see if I can find me a cotter pin and a castle nut to go in there. Yep, I think that's what we need to do right here, right now. Alrighty guys, so they didn't send me any hardware or cotter pins with my control arms to put the nuts on. And these require a castle nut with a cotter pin going through it. The ones that came off on the ball joint part, it had a metric style nut with a washer on it, but not a castle nut and definitely not a cotter pin. So we've got a different style control arm and ball joint. The threads on the ball joint are different going on. So that presents a problem that we're going to have to figure out how to fix it. So what's going on is this is the old ball joint that came off, the piece of junk that about fell off. This one right here, it does not have a hole in it to put a cotter pin through it. And it requires this metric nut right here. This is the one that came off of it. And when you tighten that down on there, it gets tighter as you go down and it locks itself on there. And this nut will not come off of this ball joint on this particular control arm. But on the new one, we have the same thread count. It's metric, the same size threads, but it does not have this coating on it, and it does not lock on it, and it has a hole drilled through it where you could put a cotter pin through there. And this nut is too tall, so that when you thread it on there, it covers up the hole, so you can't put a cotter pin through there. So I went to the store, I went to like 3 different stores trying to find castle nuts that'll fit on this thread. And they've got all the standard ones you could ever want in your life. I mean, they got them head to toe, top to bottom, standard. But they don't have any metric castle nuts. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make a castle nut out of this. That's right. We are going to make a castle nut out of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to break out the death wheel and get the grinder going. And we're going to grind a slot right across there about halfway down. About halfway down that nut, we're going to make a slot in it. That way, when I turn this, I can line up my hole. I can line up the hole that's in that, in the bolt part of that ball joint, and then I can put a cotter pin through it, and that's going to keep it from backing off. Because right now, on that new one, when you put this on there, yeah, you can get it tight, but it will back off because it won't lock on like it will on this one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make us a castle nut here. Alright, we got our wheel of doom here. What we'll do is just put this on here to kind of hold it for us. And then we're going to go about halfway down. Now what we're going to have to do is put a wrench on it to keep it from moving. It's trying to move around on us here a little bit. We don't want that. Let me put y'all somewhere else where you can see it. Alrighty, we have a castle nut. Ooh, that baby's hot. Now I can get a cotter pin through there. See that? Ow, damn, that's hot. Woo. Alright, let's go put that on. Alright, now, when we put this on here, we need to know which way our hole is facing. And it's right there, so it's about 7 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and start our bolt on here. I'm just not sure I got enough gusto to go all the way around again. I guess I could try it. We might get there. It's close. Boy, she getting tight though. I don't want to strip out this ball joint. Well, that'd be a bad day. Yeah, she's tight. All right, a little more. I think we're about there. That's pretty darn close right there. Try that. Man, I'm kind of excited about that. It got tight, but it didn't get so tight it got loose. You know what I mean? There you go. Yeah. That's good right there. And we got us a cotter pin in there, so it ain't gonna come out. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Now I feel comfortable. I feel like I can go about 80, 90 mile an hour now and I won't kill myself or somebody else. Okay, good. I'm glad that worked out. Alright, now. Now we got to figure out these little tabs again and then tighten them down. Damn, you hear them crows? I'm telling you, these birds make noise around here. We got crows, man, we got squirrels, we got all kinds of just creatures running around here. And they make all kind of noise. Alright, so, what we got here is we wanted this to be not there. So I think what we can do is we can rotate this bolt up here down. And I got the wrong wrench. Let me go get another wrench. And I think we can control our camber with that bolt. I think we turn it, I think it'll go in and out. I think when we move this bolt back here, we're going to control. Oh yeah, see that right there, that makes a difference right there. Okay. So what we want here is this back one needs to be on 2. Which is about right there. That's about 2. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing on this side over here. Alright, we got 1. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about 4 right there. So that one's tight, the other side's tight, ball joint's tight. I got everything routed how it's supposed to be routed. I think we're good. Okay, all we gotta do now is throw the wheel back on it and see what it looks like. That ain't gonna work right there. Check this out. Look how bad that is. That there is what they call positive camber. Way positive. So yep, we're going to adjust on that. Let me jack it back up. That ain't no good. Alright, let's see what that looks like. No, she's still positive. Alright guys, so you know I had a little trouble getting my camber set on the front wheels here. So I'm going to show you another method that I come up with, and I think this is going to get me close. I'm just going to have to ballpark it and try to get it set just close, because it's going to have an alignment after all this is done anyway. So might as well just get it as close as I can, that way I can drive it to the shop. So let me show you this method that I come up with to do this. We'll see how close I can get it. Alright, so what I did was I went and found me a piece of metal, and it ain't very straight. So what I'm going to have to do here is I got me one of these little angle finders on here. And what I'll do here on my angle finder is turn it on. Turn it on there. And then I'm going to touch the wheel here on the tire on the top and the bottom, and then run it straight down. And see what I got here. I'm going to have to zero that out right here. This could be my baseline on my back wheels. So right there I got 0.7. Right there, 0.7. And I take it and I flip it over. I flip my metal bar over and put my magnet back on it. Now we're at 0.4. So we got 0.7 and 0.4. So I'm going to take the average of those two numbers. Alright, so on this is the right hand side. Right here I got 0.7 and 0.4. And I'm going to add them together. That's 1.1. And I'm going to divide that by 2. So here we go. We're going to whoop out some math, some schooling on you here. 2 goes into 1.10. How many times? Well, you bring your decimal up here. 2 don't go into 1, so you put you a goose egg right there, 0. 2 does go into 11. 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Then you subtract, bring you 1 down and 0. So then you got 0.55 right there. That's your magic number on the right hand side is 0.55. Now let me go over here and look at the left hand side and see where we are, and I guarantee you we ain't at 0.55. But we'll go measure it anyway. And then we're going to jack it up and adjust that camber out a little bit. And we're going to try to shoot for 0.55 with it on the ground right here. Alright, on this side, this is the left hand side. This is the side we're making our adjustments on right here. I'm going to push it up against the tire here a little bit and let it sit down. And we are at We 88 degrees. Alright, I'm about to go reset this on the back wheel because I flipped it over now because we're on the other side. Let me go reset it on the back wheel. Alright, so I reset it back here on the back wheel. There we go. Okay. So that's about 1.7 right there, 1.9. About 1.9 right there. Alright, so we'll flip it over. Put it back on there. Touch your tire first. And 0.6. 1.9 and 0.6. Zero point eight. 0.8. 1.9 and 0.8. Alright, so let's do the math on that. Alright, so on this side, on the left side, we got 1.9 and we flipped it over and got 0.8. So let's add them up. 0, 9, 8, 17, 2.70. Now we're going to divide that in half. 2 goes into 2.70. Y'all didn't know y'all was going to school today, did you? Heck no. Here we go. Put your decimal up there. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 70. Then you got 3 times 2 is 6. 1, 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Right there. Alright, so 1.35 is what we got over here. So there's a big difference there. See, you're at 0.5 degrees over there, and right here at 1.35 degrees. That's a big difference between them two. Alright, so I'm going to jack it up now, pull the wheel off, and we're going to see if we can get that down to about 0.5. That's where we want to be. Right there. 0.5. See that? I'm going to put some fireworks over here, some hearts, some smiley faces and stuff, you know. Okay, anyway, I'm being stupid. Alright, let's get this wheel off, see what we got. Alrighty guys, so we finally got it figured out here, and what we had to do, or what I had to do, was take that nut loose again on both sides, right there, and then crank these control arms almost all the way in, you know, to get where I needed to be. And finally we got, you know, to where we needed to be on our degrees. We're within 0.2, 0.3 degrees, and that's good enough for me. That's good enough to get to the alignment shop, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and tighten this stuff down, and yeah, I think while I'm in here, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with some wool wax in here and put some undercoating in here and kind of protect all this, keep it from rusting on me. And it looks like it's got pretty good protection now. There's really no rust in here because it looks like there's been some grease in here and some oil at one point in time or another. And I mean, there's a couple bare spots up here, but all in all, this is a solid truck. There's really no rust on it anywhere. I mean, it looks pretty good. So yeah, we're going to tighten everything down and keep trucking on it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get our brake line bracket back on here. And then we'll go ahead and tighten down our nut on our ball joint here. Then once you start getting her about where she needs to be, you gotta line that hole up so you can get a cotter pin through there. You want to get the biggest one you can get that'll fit in there, because you don't want a whole lot of room there. You want it to be as big as you can get it, but you want it to be able to go through there. Yeah, that's a little too big right there. That's it, right there. And you put it in there, give her a couple little taps to run her in there like that. See how it's wedged in there like that? That's what you want right there. Then you just fold them back around there like that. Like that. That's how I do it right there. That's good. That ain't going nowhere. All right. So we'll go ahead and tighten up these other bolts here. Gotta tighten these guys up right here. And I think that's going to be about right there. And I do have the suspension loaded. I've got my jack right here. I've got it jacked up. It is up. I've got it up compressed and it's off my jack stand over here. So I've got weight on it right here. So I'm tightening down that bolt with weight on it right here. So I'm simulating the truck being on the ground right now. Alright, that one's good. Now we'll do the same thing on this side over here. Alright, that's tight. And I put us a couple of zip ties on here. So I need to nip the tails off here. That's holding the ABS sensor wire. It goes in right there, and I put a couple zip ties on it right here to kind of keep it out of the way. So that's got us right there. Alright, we're tight there and there. Got that on. That's on there. Ball joint's tight. Got a cotter pin in it. Alright, so I figured while I was in here working on this stuff, I do want this truck to last a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and put some undercoating stuff in here. And what I did was I ordered some stuff here. This is wool wax. And they're not paying me or nothing. They're not sponsoring me or nothing. But I've used this stuff before, and I think it's pretty good stuff. And, you know, I think if you catch it early enough before you get rust, I think it works really good to prevent rust. So I think that's the key, is to get it on there. If you're going to use something, you know, like this or whatever, get it on there before you start getting rust on your frame and stuff, because it'll prevent, you know, that from happening. I think it's like a blocker. It'll It'll block that road salt and stuff from getting on there and messing up your frame and rusting out your vehicle. You do have to apply, you know, if you live up north or whatever and you have a lot of salt and stuff, you have to reapply it so often because the roads will, you know, it'll wash off after so many seasons or whatever. But down here, down south, we really don't have a salt issue down here. So that should last on this truck for a really long time and make this truck last. But what I've got here is I got me a power sprayer here. And so what I'm going to do is I thinned it out. It's a little bit thick, that wool wax is coming out of the bottle. So I thinned it. I put some vegetable oil in there with it. And we'll let that kind of, let that thin it out a little bit. That's a good thinning agent for this pretty much because it keeps it from, you know, you really don't want to put nothing flammable or nothing on there. So what I'll do here is got my gun together, and that's what it looks like. I got my wool wax in there, and it's just basically a fan in there, and when you hit this thing, it should start coming out of there. There it is right there. And yeah, we'll just go around through here on the frame and all my metal parts and cover it with this stuff. And you get the idea. They say you got to have a special applicator or whatever and all that. But if you thin it down a little bit, it'll go through a Wagner. We'll just put that on there like we're spraying a porch or something, and I'll show you another picture when I get that done. But yeah, that's working pretty good. Alrighty, so this is the finished product here. And I mean, it ain't perfect, but you know, this ain't no show truck or nothing. I just want it to be functional. I ain't, you know, and I want it to last. I ain't worried. Like I said, this ain't no trailer queen. It ain't going to a car show or nothing. So this right here is good enough for me. Alright. All we gotta do now is throw the wheels back on it and see how we did. Alright, now all that's left to do is torque these lug nuts, and then we'll take a spin, see if our noise went away. Alrighty, this is my favorite part of the whole deal right here, the road test. Let's take it for a spin and see what it does. That is music to my ears right there. This thing's got a Texas speed, the chopper cam in it, and long tube headers and all that. And it sounds good. I love the way this truck sounds. So hopefully it don't pop no more. That's kind of the main thing. take it easy here in the neighborhood because they ain't real wild about a loud car here. Some of them are, don't get me wrong. Some of them like it, but some of them don't. But it's America, so we'll wait here a minute. We've got some traffic. I appreciate you guys watching, I really do, and thank you so much for subscribing and everything. And I don't have no sponsors yet or anything for this stuff, but you know, maybe, who knows, man, maybe enough of you guys will keep watching and laughing at me anyway that maybe I can pick up a sponsor or two and try out some products or something. Anyway, I don't want to talk your ear off.